So I guess we're live.
We're live, and there's already Pavel, Linden, and Kifayed joining. Nice. And Marga. We've got a few people here already. I'll give
Yeah,
a little bit more time for the first people to join in.
yeah, sure. Yeah, that awkward silence in the beginning.
Yeah, but sure, you should fill it up with some kind of jokes here.
Yeah, well,
Nah. We could look at the weather, and it's a very windy and rainy today here in Finland.
yeah, actually, yeah, yeah, we can talk about weather. I don't mind. So, like,
Nah.
actually been in Finland once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I've been here. I've been there once, but I've been there like in winter in February, and
Oh.
it was like freaking snowing, and yeah, and then basically it was 1 day tour, and then I jump on a cruise ship to Estonia, and then I like had
Okay.
a little trip there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Finland's got many beautiful places here and there as well to visit. So
yeah,
nice to come here and welcome again sometime.
yeah,
Anyways, I think we've waited long enough for the rest of the people to join whenever they join, if they join.
sure, sure.
So hello everyone and welcome to this live conversation I'm gonna have with Bekjon,
Yeah,
who's writing the Liberation Project. I'm gonna let Bekjon introduce himself.
yeah. So thank you for having me. My name is Bekjon. Yeah, I run this publication called Liberation Project. Although the naming probably will change in the future. So, but let's see for now. Yeah, usually I basically write short pieces that concern like some of the themes around our existence, ambiguity and uncertainty of living, and the overall purpose or lack thereof. So, and I try to pick out a single idea and try to expose it through dialogues or through constructing some kind of scene where it naturally lands. So, as the main goal is to like make one like wonder about stuff that we don't usually think about daily, like for example our meaning of life or why do we do what we do, and so usually that's the purpose.
Okay. The
Yeah.
question there comes in. So, what would you say that, since you're writing these pieces, what would you say that you're trying to liberate people from?
So a lot of times, I don't know, like, I guess it's my own experience, but I think it's probably true for others as well. Whenever we talk about stuff that, concerns, like, something underlying, like foundational, such as like meaning of life, people like whenever you start talking about it in a society, you sort of like labeled as a antisocial or someone that shouldn't belong there because you're essentially trying to somehow question the obvious. Like, okay,
Okay.
you're living and you should be just fine with this, whatever, for whatever reason and stuff like that. But whenever you're trying to actually dig deeper and like question, like, why did you come into existence, or is there any meaning at all, or just a happy coincidence? Essentially, that's like I've noticed that it's not being talked about enough. At least in
Mm.
my circle, in my circles, everyone is busy with their own lives. And for good reasons. They have their lives to live. They have their own problems, and they don't really have, I don't know, like too much time to think about this because they have a like certain task to do and certain responsibilities, which is fair. Uh,
Mm.
but uh, but in my opinion, I would like to give space for those thoughts and to be, I would say, liberated from this stigma that essentially thinking about a meaning of life is something like important, and it's as important as thinking about your next step or whatever that you're well occupied with during the day.
Mm.
And so that was essentially the idea behind it.
kind of a little bit of a philosophical style, like way to go with this, like philosophy in the
Yeah.
background there.
Yeah, well, yeah, actually, yeah. So, like many ideas that I draw upon, like they have something to do with philosophy. Ultimately,
Mm,
that's just goes without saying, because
yeah.
by the end of the day, you have to look at the stuff like uh, from a perspective of logic and reason, and try to find your way through.
Mm. No, I mean
So,
it is a very deep question to ask like this. What's the meaning of life? Yeah,
uh, y-
it's a strong, it's a very deep
uh,
starting point. It can be a very difficult to answer. Like, if people ask
yeah.
me, a bit of a side note, but if people ask me what's the meaning of life, my first answer is usually the joke 42 because it's been made famous.
Yeah,
But
that's.
if we're going to getting a little bit more serious, I mean, I don't know. Everyone's got, in my opinion at least, everyone's got their own version of the real answer to that question, because it's not I, saying what the universal meaning of life is. Then you would have to look at it from a bird's eye view, and in our case, it would you'd have to be able to look at every single human being on planet Earth at the same time, I think, to get the real answer. So I like to turn it at what's my purpose. Yeah, so one person. It's a little bit more manageable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
But so yeah, that's right. I guess there is no way you can objectively provide meaning that would be
mm,
equally valid for everyone. So I guess by the
yeah.
end of the day, this is something subjective. So, but if you don't mind, so what is it that I would say makes you get up in the morning and stay excited about the day?
Well, right now, at least, what makes me get up in the morning are my kids who just wake me up
Okay,
and just
fair
force me
enough.
to get. It's time to wake up and start playing something or getting breakfast and whatnot. But
Right.
I I know that's not the answer or the answer you're looking for. What is more like, it's for me started about quite recently, that I want to be able to, should I say, actually, this is one of those deeper questions on why do I want to do what I do and it's for me myself personally to be in a position where I'm able to help as many people as possible and help them understand themselves, help them find their own meaning in their lives as well in some ways. I mean, I know I'm mirroring your answers a little bit because, to be honest, that's something I noticed while I was reading through some of your posts, is that we are quite adjacent in some ways.
Mhm.
You're usually taking on the starting point of having a more of an, I wouldn't say necessarily existential starting point, but still like a little bit of a more philosophical starting point, perhaps. Whereas I
Yeah.
usually try to use my starting point coming from something in my own life. But then what happens after that quite often is surprisingly similar in our writing styles, in my opinion. And that was actually something that was really interesting for me to notice when I was reading through a few of your articles.
Yeah, to be honest, I could draw similarities as well with your articles.
Mm,
Especially, I really liked the ones that you talked about. Like the feeling of satisfaction in life, like being sort of, like enough, and like I don't know. Uh, I really like the perspective where you said that essentially you've been trying so hard to like build your business, and you've been successful at it, and it still didn't really bring you, like, the level of peace that all like you've been striving for quite a long time. And when I read this, I was like, okay, so then, like, okay, if we what you're trying to achieve and strive for, if it doesn't really resolve uncertainty or brings any sense of peace, then how do we have to navigate around this issue? And to be honest, it's becoming worse in modern age, where especially like there are so many sources of anxiety, and there is so many sources of like like that bring about worry and uncertainty. Like we've never been exposed to so much information before, and not on that scale. And obviously, our brains, it hasn't really been adapted to processing this much. And yeah, that's a really good question. Like, how do you actually like sort of black out this noise and try to find something that you can rely on and eventually reach peace. So that's an open question to me. I don't really know. Like I haven't, by the looks of me, like, I don't really achieve. I haven't really achieved like any inner peace. So it's like it's still a lot of anxiety. It's still a lot of like worries and stuff. So maybe you could share your perspective on this. What do you?
First,
The thing
before I
was.
get into it, thanks to Clarity Compass for the comment. That's very flattering to hear. Thank you. Then
Okay.
to get to my perspective on, unfortunately, I don't really have an answer either. There was actually a recent piece where I did try to reflect a little bit on this, like what is it that could give me the inner peace that I'm looking for. And I started off with the achievement that I had, and or achievements, I'd say rather, like professional achievements I've got in life, and there's quite a few. And yeah, I don't think that alone will ever give you a satisfaction. Like I do think having that you need to achieve something that it gives meaning to you is necessary, but it doesn't have to be professional achievements. It could be personal achievements as well, like running a certain amount of kilometers in a row, or swimming, or throwing a stone like 100 times in the same spot. I don't know. Point is that I do think people need some achievements. But on top of that, I do think also people need relationships. Like we need the feeling that we belong with a certain group of people. You could call it family. It could be the real family, or your chosen family. Like it could be just a group of friends that you really feel like you belong with this group of people. I do think we need that feeling of belonging as a human being to actually get there. But on top of that, also, which is a little bit more of a difficult one, I think, in nowadays society, because of that we have so many different avenues of or streams of information from social media and whatnot, is that are we living the life we chose ourselves? Like, is that did we actually have a choice in where we are right now as a person? Like, is that something we chose ourselves, or did we drift into it based on all the kinds of different external outputs that we get? That can be a little bit, if the answer is, and this one it can go either way, because I think if the people find this important or not, I think that depends on the person. I don't think, the same answer would be okay for everyone there either. Then on top of that, still, I would say that we need, wait, I lost the train of thought here I had.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, I mean, I had a nice train of thoughts. Now just apparently managed to forget what I was looking for. I'll probably pick it up in a moment again. But point is that there's, yeah, go on.
I mean, you brought up a really excellent point, to be honest, like, because that's something that I've been grappling with for a long time. So, like, how much of your thoughts like truly belong to you, and how much of them like have been like imposed on you in a way that you don't really realize? And I think this is a really good question to ponder about, because it's at some point you have your desires, you have your like things that you want to achieve, right? Goals. And how did you how did you come to view them as your goals? And was it like was it something external? Did you like watch it somewhere else, or it's something that just popped up on your own? And I would say I wouldn't say like we are products of our environment, although it is like to some degree it is true. But it would be really sad if all the desires that we have, all the things that we want to achieve, is actually as a result of like external stimuli. Like so you're watching social media, you're scrolling on Instagram, and you see like, okay, so I wanna do the same way, or I wanna like become someone else that you see like, and that's a really good question to ponder about, to meditate about, to see like whether you actually want it or it's something that's been imposed on you.
That's your brain. I agree there. And by basically what you're coming into it, or now I remembered where I was left off last time, is this point of experiencing inner peace that many people talk about. Like, are you at peace with your own thoughts? And that's a little bit of a tangential to what you were just talking about. Like, are my thoughts my own, or are they coming in from somewhere else? And yeah, it's not an easy point, but if we sum up a little bit my long and your rambling and my rambling here, that we get in terms of we have a balance of many different aspects and many different point of views on ourselves, that if we want to be satisfied with our lives, there are many different points of view that needs to be in balance, per se. There's the social aspect, there's the physical aspect also. Just, do we feel okay with who we are in our own bodies? Even like, do we need to eat better, or or are we okay with the way we are? Or like, and then there's the relational aspect. Then there was the spirit. Yeah, this is again going into another framework I remember hearing about, that there's the spiritual aspect, which is kind of similar to the inner peace kind of way.
Actually, you brought up another great point. So a lot of times when one is unsatisfied with life, or one is even like feels like depressed, sometimes the reason behind this is not is not really a sort of mental disorder, although it certainly can be. But it might be the fact that one is living a really miserable life, and there is nothing going for it. Like, for example, like, I don't know, to get the life in order, it's very hard, and there are so many variables that you have no control over. But there are some variables that you can't have control over. But it's still like hard to manage that mentally, because you have to realize that, first of all, you are in a mess, and you are like you have to somehow make your way through, and this realization alone can send you down like some deep rabbit hole, and trying to figure out what you should do, and you might even give up halfway through, thinking that you're never gonna get anything going, like, because it's so bad. But that's the thing. Like, if you I don't know, if you have some kind of a schedule, and if you, I don't know, go to bed and wake up in the same time, and you like eat healthy, and I don't know, you go to the gym or do something regularly, and you have some kind of order over the chaos that our lives are inevitably surrounded with, it can bring some kind of sense of clarity, or sense of knowing what you're gonna do tomorrow, and reduce this chaos that you have in a little bit. Just one point that I want to expand on, that you touched upon.
There's a question we have in chat here about and he wants our both to answer this. Like, is purpose something you find or something you create? Do you want to take this one first?
No, I would let you answer first.
I would say it's depending on your own situation. It can be both, in my opinion. You might have enough strong external factors that kind of, you could even say, force upon you a purpose for your life. And the most clear example of what it could be is like you're born as a royal, and then you're the firstborn, and you're forced to become the king or whatever. So there are, and that's a simple, clear example I'm thinking about. Like, now you can have external factors that force you into a certain purpose, but then on top of that, still, for the most of us at least, that I would say it's something we get to choose for ourselves and create ourselves if we want to choose it. Because if we don't choose it ourselves, then external factors are still going to, just give us something, and then we're going to just, flounder our way through the chaos that you brought up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it can be both, depending on your situation, and if you actually want to choose your own purpose. Because if you don't want to choose it, then you're drifting and you just get some purpose. That's my methodology. How do you think about it?
Yeah, first of all, this is a really great answer. I actually really liked it. And I wouldn't say that my answer is drastically different from it, because by the end of the day, I think it's something of both. Certainly, it's something that you have to create, because there is no one is gonna come and tell you, okay, that's what you have to do and you're gonna be fine. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to put in your own effort to find something that works for you. And for this, you need to try out. You have to keep trying out like lots of stuff. Maybe do something that you don't usually do and see what you feel. And that's creating part. But finding, it's usually like, I don't know, like lots of people may say that, okay, it just, the purpose just landed itself to me. Like it just seemed so obvious, to me, that I just had no choice but to pick it up, so there is this, but I would argue you're not gonna be handed a meaning to you if you don't keep trying. So yeah, like it's not something that comes out to you without your own effort. It's like same as luck. You can increase your chances of getting lucky, and you are increasing your chances of getting lucky by doing certain actions. And but depending on what we're talking about, of course. But the point still stands. So
yeah,
that would be my answer.
That's very on a very side note here, just talking about this being lucky.
Yeah,
people tell me that we got lucky when our company succeeded. I would say that, sure, yes, we got lucky, but we had many hours and months of work behind it that we got into a position where we could get lucky.
yeah, that's a work that takes you to increase your chances of getting this luck,
Pretty
so
much,
to speak. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. Then something actually that I read from your one of your topics that you wrote a few pieces about was this, that we have, or in our lives we wear different masks, and then what hides underneath these masks. Do you want to elaborate on this topic that you've written about?
Yeah, this is a good one. But okay, it's gonna take some time to process this correctly. Like, okay, so I'm gonna look at it from afar. So essentially, what I've noticed, like from talking to people, and I've had many conversations with many people, and what usually happens is so whenever you're talking to a person, you're talking to a specific version of this person. It's something that they let you see, so to speak. And usually the reason for this is, well, there are many reasons, but the primary reason for this is to well, of course, avoid pain, like to avoid whatever it is that might embarrass them, or whatever it is that might put them like in a exposed position or a vulnerable position, so whatever it is. So and I was noticing that constantly when talking to people, and I was like, okay, so am I talking to you? Am I talking to the version of you that you created to deal with your problems? And at some point, I was like, I don't know, maybe just me. Maybe I'm just too sensitive, to notice those little things. But yeah, just at some point, I just wanted to integrate this into one of my pieces, because I just couldn't help but bring it forth. Because by the end of the day, I don't say that we have to like go ahead and pour our hearts out like to random strangers on streets or stuff like that. No, but What I'm just saying is perhaps we could, I don't know, be a little bit more not reserved but open with people. But at the same time, I understand that there are going to be people saying, okay, you don't really know someone's intentions, and you might be, putting yourself in danger by talking about yourself, like, and stuff like that. And I understand this too. But yeah, but this was just, sort of my like sort of experience that I had with talking with people, and I just want to bring it into one of my writings, essentially.
Right, that's actually a pretty nice answer there.
Okay.
I agree that in the sense that I do think also that all of us are wearing different masks along our lives. At first, we probably are like, I like to think of these kind of things when you grow up as a kid. We generally don't have any masks yet at all. Like, we're just more or less a blank slate, and we react to what we see kind of way. But then as we grow older, due to different external and internal pressures that comes along, we start wearing different masks in different situations to deal with that given situation in a better way. So therefore, for example, you and me in this conversation, as well as that we're having right now, both of us, we're wearing a certain mask that we
Yeah, for
want
sure.
that we want to present to the world that's looking at us right now.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
so and the one we want to show each other, like who we are as that, or that we want other people to see, the version of us. So, and then if you want to look at who's underneath that, then that's something generally we would choose to wear a mask because there are some certain parts of us that we don't necessarily want to tell everyone about.
Yeah.
Someone might argue that we'd want to have as few things as possible of that kind of nature that we don't want to share with everyone. Some might argue that it's better to have as many secrets as possible, regardless of what the truth there is.
Yeah.
I think I get the meaning of what you mean with these masks, and I like the metaphor there that you were using for it.
Well, yeah, but perhaps perhaps the way I frame it is a bit too I would say not really steep but dark, like, because I received some comments with regards to this piece from some people, let's say, and saying that well, perhaps it's not really that like it's not like that bad, like, and it's not like that we are living in a false version of reality, like when we're talking to each other, stuff like that. Well, I actually I really like those comments because they I essentially post those pieces not for people to tell me, okay, yeah, you're so right, but to actually to tell me, okay, maybe there is some other perspective, another perspective you can look at it, and maybe there is something else going under behind the curtains. And actually, I really like those comments. So, which I guess naturally brings me to the topic of platform itself, like Substack, and yeah, to be honest, yeah, that's a really good starting point if you like want to, and want some really good people take a look at your writing, because I would never expect anyone to. I would never expect my like writings get any likes or views, because I would say those topics are really, they are not really talked about enough, and I don't really think it's not like some trendy things that happen in those modern world. It's something that you don't usually want to think about because it makes you too uncomfortable, and that's why I thought it was just going to be lying there forever. But actually, I was quite surprised to find out that's the opposite. So, but what was your experience with Substack?
Yeah, Substack. It's actually, I think this if you want to bring out this topic, I'd probably get to from the beginning, because it's the reason I got on Substack is because I felt like it was a platform that allowed me to move in a direction that would take me in my life in a direction I want to go walk in. I wasn't entirely sure what the direction exactly is, but I felt when at the time when I started writing here that it's a direction that I want to walk in, and I don't know yet what it's gonna lead me to, but yeah. And Substack itself, it's well, first off, I came here mostly as a writer because I wanted to write out my thoughts and write out things things I've noticed and things I've had on my mind that I'd say I've been noticing and had been bothering me, but I had trouble articulating or even sharing those thoughts in general. So writing has helped me a lot as a person to just get better at articulating things I've noticed because, you know, I've been kind of poor at it before, put it this
Mm-hmm.
way, if you want to say it that way. So then once I got started and had started this writing and publishing regularly, then there was like every writer on Substack. I mean, I do mainly still like the main value I get out of writing is still for myself, and that improves my thinking. But I do still want to find new readers, like most writers on Substack probably do. So then I came
Mm-hmm.
into these contacts with different kinds of Substack gurus who say that do this kind of notes and this kind of like XYZ kind of tactics that
Yeah.
will help you grow.
Yeah.
Uh, Put it this way, it's a touch and go because you can't, depending on what you're writing about, not the same way will work for everyone. Like even though at first I remember trying, I wouldn't say I tried blindly, but I tried very many things that I later noticed that just doesn't work for me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's been testing out different ways until I've quite actually towards the end of spring when I had already been on Substack for like 6 months. That's when I started to actually realize, okay, now I think I found a rhythm that actually fits me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, but on top, then after that, it's been more like continuing, and I wanted to test out these lives as well. Like I remember trying out lives at the beginning, at the end of spring as well. Turns out
Okay.
the way I did it back then, it's not the way I wanted to do it, or I want to do it actually. These
Okay.
conversations are much closer to the way I want to do lives, I think. So definitely doing this more rather. These conversations are not all, they're much more interesting as well in that sense.
Okay.
I had tried out Substack podcasts as well, but there's the issue is that how do I want to do it in a way that's actually valuable or adds something to the podcast or adds to the publication? Because the ways I came up with, they all were felt just like, something I add on with duct tape and then wonder why doesn't this feel like it fits but still's there, or it's still there but it's just doesn't feel like it fits the publication. If do you understand what I mean here?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So
because yeah, I've been facing same thoughts and doubts.
yeah,
Like you pointed out. Pointed out. Sure.
so trying to come up with ways on how do I make different things on the that or add more things to the publication in ways that actually fit, that actually make sense. And that hasn't been the easiest task either. And also because, well, the lane of or the kind of writing that we both do, it's not something that's the most popular way of like
Yeah.
or the most popular topics. uh, and therefore obviously the readership is also going to be a little slightly narrower, and it's slightly more difficult to find the readers that are actually interested in these kind of topics, or are, I would say, interested but more like ready to hear about these kinds of topics, because it does require them to slow down from the busy hustle culture that's very pervasive in our lives right now.
Yeah, actually, you brought up another good point. I also read a lot of like Substack guru content,
Mm,
and one of the advice that I hear a lot of time is so like you don't have to start your Substack unless you know exactly what it's going to be about. And I was like, well, man, I have no idea what it's going to be about. Like it might be my writing. It might take me into another direction. It might be
mm,
something else entirely. Like you might started out thinking that way and end up in completely like other dimension, like so to speak. So and like you mentioned also like some advice might be applicable to some people, but it's not the universal truth. And by the end of the day, it's all like comes down to some individual things and tweaks that work for you. Like, but the point is to keep trying and keep trying out some new stuff. Like, for example, this is only the second time I'm doing this live podcast, and I just want to see where it's going to take me. Maybe there are going to be other people that I'm going to be talking down the road, or maybe it's going to be my last podcast. So I don't really know. So
I do
but
hope I do hope your experience here isn't that bad that you actually want to stop after this.
no, I mean, no, that's not what I meant. No, actually, no. This so far it's going really great. What I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe it's not something that's going to work for me. I'm not really sure. So I'm just saying like multiple possibilities that might objectively happen. So yeah, but yeah.
To highlight a few comments there we got in the chat here in between now. Mental reader coming out that mask is just different personalities that we carry to perform well in life without showing our scares. Because never know, maybe it'll scare some people away sometime. And I do agree that it's a mask is a way to hide our insecurities. And I think at least what you're talking about is that is some insecurity of a certain part of yourself that you want to hide so that you don't scare other people away. I hope I'm reading correctly what you're trying to say there. So yeah, insecurity is definitely something we might want to hide away as well.
I totally get the point of mental reader because yeah, like I said previously, that's they exist for a reason and they exist for a specific purpose. And I don't argue about this. And it was just like I said, in my experience, I I really like enjoying talking to people when there are no, so to speak, barriers, and you can see that okay, so this is who you truly are, and you're not trying to like hide behind something, or you're not trying to be someone you are not. And I really enjoy being this. I don't understand that I also have to be open to this. I also have to open myself up to other person. I also understand this, and yeah, it's just something that goes both ways. And but I totally get why they exist in the first place.
And then we have a question from Clarity Compass when it comes to creating articles. If we're both continuously working on multiple topics, or do you write one at a time and then publish? Do you want to take this one first?
Okay, I didn't read the question. When it comes
Okay,
to
I can
creator,
start then. I can start then while you read the
you can.
question. Then.
Sure,
So
sure.
basically, my process, I would say I have about like getting new ideas on topics I might write about. That's something that happens pretty much daily. And I have I actually have 3 different places where write down topic ideas on what I might write about. So and then I have set times or roughly set times during the week when I try to actually write the topics. And then when the time comes, I look through the topic ideas that I'm planning on, and then selecting one and pretty much writing that in sometimes in one sitting. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 to get it finished, depending on how difficult the topic is. Sometimes it also happens that I start writing it, and then halfway through or anywhere before it's finished, I notice that no, this topic doesn't work, and then I pretty much put the article away in my drafts folder. And I mean, there's probably 50 drafts right now in my drafts folder that I haven't really that I might return to at some point, but I don't know yet. So, and then instead of because I don't want to force an article out, like, or force myself to write something that doesn't feel like it fits or it doesn't feel right. So then I wouldn't say I scrap it, but I do save what I've written so far and then move on to another one instead. So which feels like it comes more naturally.
Mhm. Well, actually, you got me really surprised. Like there are like 50 drafts. I barely have two. You know, yeah. So answering this from my perspective, no, I don't really have. I don't really have multiple topics. Like, and to be honest, like I might have some ideas about what my next post might be about, but eventually it might be something else entirely. Like I can't really plan this ahead, and it's one of my problems that I have. Like it's really hard for me to force myself to write about something that I plan to write about. And whenever I try to force my words like on paper, they just, I don't know, I don't really like them. It feels so, I would say, far away from the way I write usually. And I write when it feels like writing. And of course, you have like specific times where you allocate and where you try to write something down. But in my opinion, there are only like some of the times I'm better at this, and some of the times I'm just the worst. And so yeah, but I don't really. I have like two or three drafts like laying somewhere that might go like some particular direction, but other than that, no.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't know either if I'll ever resurrect anything. Actually, so far I have resurrected one of those ideas I've wrote in my draft folder. Once
Okay.
I've gone back to collected
Okay.
one of those ideas and finished that draft instead of just letting them lie there. But who knows? Maybe in the future I'll resurrect more of them, or maybe they'll just forever stay there. Who knows?
It's just really like a good corpus of knowledge and a corpus of work just to maybe grab some ideas from. It's really good to have, I would say.
Mm,
But speaking of drafts, well, specifically for Substack, I don't really have that much, but I have a draft of my novel that I wrote perhaps probably 3 or 4 years ago, and but it's still like it's now that I read it, it doesn't sound that deep, you know, like it doesn't grab me the same way as it should, and I'm doubting like the quality of this writing, and I'm not really sure what to do with this because I've spent like so much time like trying to put pieces together, and it's like really messy process, and it's just lying there and without any progress, and I don't really know what to do with this, to be honest. So
I can't really answer for you that question, but I do actually have a draft as well that's for a book I'm writing on right now. It's I would say I'm about 70 or 80% there, finished with it, but it's still like it's missing at least two edit like rewriting passes where I just go through things to figure out in what way I want to portray different situations in the book, and then the main question I still have which I've had so far during drafting. I've had three different ideas of what I want the book to talk about, and now right now I'm not certain about if my finished the current idea that I've made it through is actually the end product that I want to finalize it on. So who knows? If the point is that when writing something, I'm not an expert in terms of writing books or novels. That's not something I've ever really worked with. I'm sure there's better authors out there who can answer more reliably than me, but I still think that it's something that can't be forced, and it's something that and it just shouldn't necessarily be rushed either. Trying to Someone says that try to focus on writing at least one word per day, and then eventually you'll get there. It might be the best way of doing it, just getting it one word at a time. Then it forces you to think about it every day, and then perhaps one day, after thinking about it for like 700 days in a row, you finally get it.
well, yeah, I would say that's a the way you usually do it. I mean, because you take out like one word at a time. But is it a nonfiction? It's something, or it's something
Oh,
like
yeah, it's nonfiction for me. Yeah, it's the closest big umbrella you could put my current draft under is it's a memoir, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't
Okay.
say it's I don't think it's more kind of a traditional memoir per se, because I don't want it to be a traditional memoir, put it this way.
Okay.
More like, because I wanted it to be support the and be some kind of a more should I something that goes deeper behind all these different kinds of things I've noticed and written about so far on Substack, to provide more depth and more give it, and also give perspective on why, perhaps probably on why I see things or notice certain things the way I see them, and just trying to give perspective, I guess.
Mhm.
And also to
Okay.
give perhaps explain certain things as well, of why some things have happened the way they have. It's a difficult process for me to figure out how I exactly want to do it.
I mean, it certainly is. Any like planned year when it's going out and it's available for purchase or something like this?
My original plan was to have it finished by May this year, but it's been
Okay.
pushed forward.
Okay.
Like, I had I did have a plan to finish it during my summer break. Well, I mean, I did manage to get it to this point that I'm right now at during my summer break, where I have actually a fully fleshed out draft. Like, every chapter roughly knows its role, and every chapter has a purpose, and they're written out, but there's still going to be the point of going through it, and then
I see.
figuring out what I want to put those, basically just, again, choosing what, if some certain chapters needs a little bit more text here and there, or if it needs to modify what I've written here and there to
Mhm.
portray a certain thought the way I want it to be portrayed, if that makes sense.
It does, but also it's again difficult topic to reason about in terms of what is like the most appropriate way of approaching it. But yeah, it's totally complicated.
You want to see my draft folder?
Yeah, I see. Yeah, okay, I
It's
can see the comment.
not. I would say I would have to clean it up a little bit. Some of the topic names I put in that topic names can be, doesn't necessarily contain like PG language. So perhaps we try to some other day, maybe after I clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, uh, I
But
get,
anyways, if any materials, books that have helped us deepen writing perspectives, that we would recommend, our personal favorites, and also, well, first off, you can ask as many questions as you want. It's not like, this is the last one you'll get to ask.
yeah,
So
the more the
go ahead.
better. The more the
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Anyways, for me at least, I would say that the main book I often return to is the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. That definitely was the one kind of an eye opener for me, to help me know these things more effectively than I did before. So
Mhm.
that's the book I would perhaps recommend.
The Power of Now.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot. That name have come up like so many times, like when discussing like the books that one should read, but I never got around to actually reading it. Well, perhaps I should add this to my reading list, and because it came up one more time.
Yeah.
Uh,
What about you?
well, I it's hard to like with regards to writing process. I guess there is only so far I've read only one book that has anything to do with how you approach writing, and essentially that's a famous, or maybe not, book by Stephen King on writing. And he wrote this in, I guess, 2000s, stuff like this. But I would say most of advice that he gives there still applicable. And yeah, it's just the way I was always fascinated with how quickly he produces the books. And actually, and he really, he talks about this openly. There is no like magic pill how you write them. It's he just tries to, it usually takes him like 3 months to finish the draft. And essentially it's 2000 words a day, and he doesn't take any breaks. He essentially like writes 7 days a week and trying to get those 2000 words a day. And yeah, by the end of it, you have like in 3 months, you have a really decent sized novel, a book. And and then as he says in his book, essentially the second part, the draft, you like with editing and all that stuff, you want to like delay this process for about 4 or 6 weeks before it, you come back to it and you can see what you have to edit out and stuff like that. And there he also gives like a formula, like that your second draft it's essentially like your first draft minus 10% of it. So that's usually how he gets it done. And well, oh yeah, okay, but it's easier said than done. Like 2000 words a day, it sounds really small, but to keep doing this every day is it's usually hard. Yeah. Oops, I can't hear you. Some technical issues. Okay, maybe it's something on my end. Am I alone in this? Like, can somebody comment? Uh, damn, I can't really hear you, man. Can we maybe start over? Yeah, me too. I also don't hear them. Yeah, okay, I'm audible. Thanks for clarifying. Still, I can't really hear you. Yeah, I can't hear either. Damn. Can we maybe start over? Oops. It was okay.
Okay, now we should work. Now you hear me, right?
Yeah. Now I can hear you.
Great. Yeah, the issue was that my headset ran out of battery, so I was.
Okay.
I thought we could
Okay.
switch naturally to the microphone on the laptop, but apparently that didn't work out. So then I do have this huge headset that we can work with, but it wasn't really the one I wanted to use.
Okay, I see. Well,
Anyways,
yeah.
sorry about that.
No, it's totally okay.
Where was I? I missed. There was.
To be honest,
Oh yeah, the 2000 word today. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
If I was I could see myself that if I was writing a 2,000 words a day for a novel, like having a story that I'm trying to write out, imagining where it goes and whatnot. I think 2,000 words feels like it. If I didn't need to think about the whole story while writing those 2,000 words, then I think it should be relatively easy. But then there's the issue of that since we want the 2,000 words to actually play into the big story that we're building up in the whole essay or the novel as well, that can be a little bit tricky, I think. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, totally. I mean, the main problem, I don't know, at least to me, like this is like realization that there are so many ways you can approach describing something, and
Oh
it
yeah.
might. I mean, like especially like in novel, like so there are certain scenes, there are certain feelings that you want to convey, and there are like so many ways you can approach this. It's either a dialogue, or maybe it's monologue, or maybe it's just a pure outer perspective description, or like something else, or like how you construct your like pieces together, and the way, the style of your writing, the vocabulary that you use. There are so many variables at play, and and they can like really bring out different effects. And I was trying to, so that's actually one of my problems. I'm getting stuck at this like really a lot when I read what I write. Essentially, I'm looking at this and thinking, is this the best way I can convey this feeling? Or maybe perhaps I have to change the approach a little bit, maybe some other lines, or maybe some more description. But if you get too descriptive, it becomes a bit boring. And but if you all leave out those like descriptions, then it becomes like bare like a dialogue. A said A, B responded to A, or something like this, and it's not really exciting. And you have to like keep this balance, but at the same time you don't want this to like stall your progress at the same time. So
that makes me think about this thought of like show, don't tell, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like you
I
want to show a certain emotion, you don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
exactly.
explain the emotion, and that then there's many ways you can show any given emotion as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point. Like actually it's one of the points that King makes as well. Like if you fail, if you as a writer is forced to say exactly like what's happening, or the state of the emotion, like using, I don't know, adverbs or like something descriptive, then you failed your job as an author. Like you have to induce the particular feeling that you want your readers to feel by not telling, but by showing. So, and if you and if you achieve, and if you succeed in this, then that's what really good writing is. So that's essentially the basic idea.
It's very much that, I think, as well, like getting better at it to get this, that you show certain things instead of telling. I mean, I've been struggling with the exact same thing and I try to get better at it. If I succeed at it or not, I mean, I don't know for certain. But I'm trying. I guess that's all I can do.
Yeah, by the end of the day, you have to keep trying. That's all it comes down to, regardless of whether it's good or bad. Like you have to continue doing it. Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
Actually, something I've still thought about, like that I wanted to ask you about, like,
Yeah, sure.
because you were talking about this a bit, going back to the topic we had in the beginning about meaning of life, but instead of taking meaning of life, we talk about like meaning over happiness. Like,
Yeah.
why would you say that you think meaning is such an important thing compared to just being happy, if that makes sense?
Oh man, this is a tough one. Uh, well, yeah. First of all, I don't really say this lightly. It's like, oh, I would prefer meaning over happiness anytime. No, it doesn't come out of me that easily. But that's this inevitable conclusion that I come to when I think about what is it that I want to do in life. Like was the reason why I bring up those questions and trying to find answers to seemingly unanswerable questions like meaning of life or like why the universe came into existence and stuff like that. It's primarily because when things get tight, when things get difficult, you have to have something that grounds you to reality, and and that better be good. That better be good, because that's exactly what's gonna take you through all the suffering that you're going to be facing. And to me, meaning is the only thing that can take you through suffering.
Okay.
Without meaning, your suffering is desperate, essentially. And
Okay.
and that's why like happiness comes and goes, and you can be happy one day and sad like next day, but meaning, it's something that stays with you and stays with you, especially harder when things get difficult. And that's why I'm saying that I want to be sure that the meaning that I created myself is going to be robust enough to take me through all my suffering and um, help me, come out come on top of it, just overcome this. And yeah, that's why I said this.
Then, well, when you explain it that way, I'm starting to think like, how do you picture AI into this? Like, AI is such a
uh,
major topic in our lives nowadays. Like, I know I'm complicating it up for you right now, but I just felt like this was such a juicy topic.
I mean, AI is a juicy topic. Yeah. And I have so many opinions about it, to be honest. And
Okay.
we can talk about this, no problem.
Yeah, we
And
can go on. We can go on.
so, okay, if you want to know like my opinion, my stance on AI, okay, so okay, just for the record, I'm going to be talking about specifically about LLMs
Okay.
and like large language models. I'm not going to be talking about some neural networks or like something like that that's being used like decades before. I'm going to be specifically focused on LLMs, large language models, and I would say, to be honest, one might argue that there are definitely like really cool applications that you can do with LLMs, but to be honest, the way it's being marketed and the way it's being talked about is just, I don't know. To me, it's pure noise, and most of it noise. Because, like, for example, it's I don't know. Basically I'm guilty of being like on LinkedIn,
Mm.
and essentially like the second every second post that you read about is the fact that, okay, so I vibe coded this app, and now like your all developers are redundant. So essentially there is so we replaced you, and there is no value we can add to this. And to be honest, it pisses me off because like I've been a software engineer for about 6 years,
Mm.
and like I've been in this industry way before like advent of this like LLM. And to be honest, and the person that's saying that, okay, I vibe coded an app, and now like it means that you're all redundant, it just misses the whole entire point of what being software engineer is. It's not about building applications. It's about those engineers at big tech companies. They don't get paid for like writing those full stack applications. They get paid for maintaining enormous structure and architecture that those applications have to have in order to withstand the scale of the users. Like they are dealing with, I don't know, millions of users concurrently, and
Yeah.
there is no way you're gonna wipe code your way through it. So and
Yeah, I understand what
yeah,
you're. I think I know where you're going with this right now. Let's
yeah,
instead of going all the way there,
yeah,
because yes, I'm. I know a little bit of what you're talking about since I'm a software developer as well. I was thinking more
yeah.
like to more direct in what I was thinking about with this question was more like how AI affects the meaning of life in a sense, or combining this AI on our meaning as a human race, because you felt, at least I felt like that was a certain kind of a combination. I thought I saw you do in your
Um, yeah, well, actually, that got me off the tangent then, because
Yeah,
well,
no,
perhaps I said something that I shouldn't have, but
no, don't worry about it.
no, that's okay. I mean, to be honest, I mean, are you talking about AI sort of like meaning in terms of whether it's sentient or not, or like
More like trying to speculate and reflect on what kind of an effect it will have in our lives at scale, because the way I see it, at least, okay, you can pitch in if you wish or not, but the way I see
Sure.
it, at least, AI, yes, it helps us, like as software developer, AI helps me get certain things done faster, but I don't think it's good enough that I could, let AI do whatever on its own, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, but I do see that it's a great help if used correctly. And I think also AI in itself, also right now at least, is at a point where it helps enormously a lot of people in whatever task they're doing. Like they can be for writing, marketing, sales, software engineering. Heck, I would argue even we could write apps that help people in like gardening if you want to, and their
Yeah.
AI could help. So therefore, I do think AI can have a huge positive impact in our lives, and it can have a great positive impact in our meaning as well, to try and help us find that meaning. But it's a tool, same as an act, like something I used for someone else actually before. A metaphor is that you know what an axe is, right? If an axe can be a very dangerous tool, but it can also be very useful to chop wood.
Yeah.
And if used correctly, I mean, an axe is safe. But then again, if you use it wrong, it can be very dangerous. Now, if you use the same idea for AI, like as we are right now, AI is pretty much a tool, but it's not something that can be, and it can be very dangerous, but it can also be, should I say, very productive and very positive, and have a very positive impact on us if it's used correctly.
Correctly is a key word here,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
so like you don't wanna outsource your thinking to AI. Like what you wanted to do is to execute the actions that you know exactly what they're doing, and to know the full context. And I'm not really sure how many people actually are using it this way, like because I don't know, it can quickly, if used incorrectly, it can make you like incredibly lazy and incredibly like, and it's not just okay, I don't want to do this. It's not about this. It's about like not wanting to think, and because it's becoming a chore to think, and I'm gonna let AI decide it, and if that's what it's going to become, then it's going to be really problematic. But I do agree that if you know the full context, like of what's happening, like regardless where it's applied, whether it's in coding or whether like some tasks that you perform like daily, that can be a, like I would say, 10x boost in your performance. That's for sure, because it can generate rapidly like all that stuff, like and it understands the context and all that stuff. But yeah, I would never let it like decide for you.
Yeah.
It would be really bad mistake.
This was a bit of a tangent, went in a different direction I thought this topic would go, but that's all right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
To
I
return to
guess
some of those questions that people had,
sure.
there were a couple of questions that came in. But if you start off with where I think we left, what feelings would you guys like to induce to your readers? Like, what kind of feeling would you like your readers to experience when they're reading?
So, what feelings would you like? Well, okay, I can take it. So, oh man, actually, it's such a huge context switching, to be honest. Like, like we were talking about a minute ago, AI and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and then back to writing.
Yeah.
Essentially, well, in my personal case, I want readers to. I would say I want my readers to ponder.
Okay.
I'm not really sure about the feeling per se, but it's more like, so what I want to achieve, like by the end of reading this book, I want people to ponder about something, like there's the questions that I leave open in my writings, and I don't really provide answers, because having your I don't claim to have answers. What I'm trying to do is to provoke thinking, and so that everyone can come into their own conclusions and stuff. So if that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does in that sense. Like, you want to provoke thought. I would say, from my point of view, but the feeling that I would like to experience I try to aim for it in the pieces I write, is that the feeling of, wait, that's me too, or somehow that they recognize that, hey, this is actually something that they recognize in themselves or in someone they know. That's the main goal. Recognition in that sense is is the feeling I'm trying to get people to get there.
Okay.
Then we have a question there. Is the writer supposed to take into account whether the reader is getting the message the writer wants to convey, or should they just write and publish? So basically, in my opinion, at least on this question, is that I don't think the writer per se should take into account that much about how what the reader takes out of my words. Like, I do have an idea of what I mean with what I write, and I would like to try and avoid misunderstandings as much as possible, so that the only potential understanding would be the one I want them to take out. But I still don't see myself being responsible for how they actually interpret my words, if that makes sense.
And well, it certainly does. But before providing any insights into this, first of all, really good question. And
Oh yeah, true.
yeah, because I also at some point thought about this, and I would say I think about this nearly like subconsciously, nearly about every page that I write, because by the end of the day, the worst thing that can happen is for readers to like come out of it like with a wrong impression, and this is literally the worst case scenario. But yeah, I mean, I think about this, but I also at the same time I don't let this to be the main driver. Like by the end of the day, I want to write that feels right to me first, and then to make it, so to speak, presentable to others. And so it's like a sort of a balance between the two. But yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously, as a writer, I do as well. Like, I write to myself first, and then try to make it in a way so that the reader hopefully understands it the same way. But I don't think so. I try to help the reader understand what I'm going for, but I can't be certain if they will understand the same way. But I can try.
So certainly, yeah.
Yeah. Then we have a few other conversation. I'm not sure I understand that one. The voice activated systems on ChemCDF Corp drivers. Maybe we even work together. I'm not sure if I understand. It seems like you're used voice activated systems on some drivers somewhere. I mean, who knows? I mean, I've worked on drivers as well. I don't know but I don't know most of the people I worked with when I was doing that. So who knows? Maybe. AI is currently as difficult for some types of neurodivergent communication styles. That's definitely true. AI it can mimic a lot of different styles, but by default, it has a very certain way of communicating. If you teach it and give it, instructions on how you want it to sound, you are able to achieve it to actually work for many different neurodivergent styles as well. but it takes setting up to get it to work for different kinds of styles. By the default, it doesn't work everywhere.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Do you want to go on here?
well, I would say I totally agree with your take. I mean, AI is currently, yeah, I mean, like you said, it's has a default way of communication. I would say also depends on what model is being used. I mean, like whether it's Claude and if it's Claude, then whether it's Sonnet or maybe like Opus or something like this. So I think there are differences in that, but yeah.
There definitely is differences on those
Yeah.
as well. Like, and depending on what task you're doing, you want to use different models for it. Okay, that definitely went. Like I said, it went in a different direction. I thought it would go that tangent, but that's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you said, it's a juicy topic, so that's why it could have gone in many directions,
Yeah.
but I'm glad where we are.
Yeah,
So,
it's okay. Then we got. I should perform my sincere mental patterns until it's funnel. Like my photo cup on that cup that will be in every coffee machine automate. Not sure if I understand that one either. Oh well. Anyways, I think we're not running out of time, but I think this might be a good point where we can actually start rounding out this particular live. Something I usually like to say at the end. Do you have any closing thought or what you want the people to think about after this live?
Oh man, man, that is such a difficult question to close
The
the loop
first thing
on.
that comes to your mind.
Well, I don't know. I want people to feel hope. I want people to know that I know there is a loneliness pandemic, so to speak. There are so many alone people out there in the world, and it's spreading out like plague. And if there is only message that I could like broadcast, I would say it's message that they are not alone, and they can reach out and find community and to feel hope. That's the only message I could. I would want people to know about.
Okay, that's all right.
So, yeah.
So,
But anything from you, like, because
actually, I felt like I wanted to expand on that one. Like,
okay.
so a closing thought that if you know someone you suspect or might feel like they're alone, or you suspect that they are experiencing loneliness, consider perhaps reaching out to them.
Oh yeah, that's gold. Yeah, that's gold. Yeah, that's 100%. That's 100%. Yes.
Anyways, I guess that's all for me then. And I hope for the viewers here that they feel like we at least answered or went through most of the questions and comments you had. Thank you a lot to everyone for so much audience participation. This was awesome. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much, and for the viewers and for you as well.
Yeah, and thank you, Bekjon, for joining me here. This was a lot of fun for me as well. Anyways,
likewise.
Have a nice evening, everyone, or have a nice day wherever you are living right now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.